II. Now, if you recall, in the 1840s, Germany, including Baden, where I was born, was pretty upset. There was no full Germany. They were lots of unhappy people. Churches were upset. And so it was not a good time for Germans of any area to stay in Germany. And my family was part of that. So we began to realize that perhaps we should look toward the New World, which of course was the United States. And so my family, like many others, decided that we would leave and we would come to America. But even though there was hope here for us, it was a really horrible trip in the steerage of a boat as we came across the ocean. And some of us were on that boat in steerage for 12 weeks. And we endured storms and winds and being crammed into this little space with not very good food and only bunks that we could sleep on, which were not very comfortable. But we wanted to come, and so we came. Now, when we got here, there was no one to greet us. They just said, "Get off the ship." And we did. There was no Ellis Island. There were no groups to make us feel comfortable. We just had to do it on our own. And indeed, we all had to work on that. So finally, when we got here, my family was able to find West Chicago. And our jobs here, we all were farmers. And so we farmed. If you know where Kress Creek is, that was on our land. It still exists. And there's also Kress Park, which is over on Joliet Street. So my family did pretty well. But in 1861, I got married to Chris, and we were together until I died in 1911. Wayne Township is actually where our farm was, in what it's called Wayne Township today. Our families and our investments and our lives were all tied to the German community. We brought our customs, we brought our religion, we brought all kinds of things that would keep us together as a German community. Those of us who learned English, and there were quite a few, we were really the first bilingual community and ethnic group here in West Chicago. Now, we farmed, and we did pretty well. DuPage County was quiet until the railroad came. And when the railroad realized this was a perfect place for a junction of different lines, railroading became the next step in our occupational journeys, if you will. A lot of our people went to work on the railroads. They found commerce brought in, if you know how Turner was laid out in the first place. Perhaps remember that the original train ran along the street behind where I know the museum is. But that was good because that gave us something else to work with and for. As for me, I'm, like I said, 180 years old. I had a long life. And I later lived here in West Chicago in what's now Ward 2. And I spent my time with the families, the other German families, and just realized that I was one of the first ones here, which was nice. I really crossed over on April 30th, 1911. I left behind the story of an immigrant who was successful here in West Chicago. Thank you.